Hello everybody and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Christina Williams and I'm an account executive here with EPMLive. Today's webinar we will discuss extending your PPM application into a comprehensive IT infrastructure for projects, products, and services. Please note that for the webinar today, all attendees are in muted mode. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat window on the GoToWebinar console, and one of my colleagues will be answering questions for you during the webinar. During today's webinar, we're going to review the following topics. First, we're going to discuss SharePoint in the sense of our solution is built on the SharePoint platform. And so we're going to discuss some common uses of SharePoint and how you can expand your SharePoint deployment using EPMLive. And then we'll go into more detail about how you can use EPMLive for IT planning and control, for managing products, projects, and services. First, we'll review a few common uses of SharePoint in the organization. SharePoint has different versions available, starting with a free version available with Windows Server. It's easy to start with and get up and running with your team. But it's also then can be used in more of other versions, such as the SharePoint Server Standard or SharePoint Server Enterprise versions. Now with SharePoint, users can freely add sites and workspaces. It's a very flexible platform for teams and users to use. Now many organizations mostly focus on a lot of the document storage and collaboration capabilities. This is an improvement over file shares and local storage on your local PCs or whatnot. And what this allows you to do is have one version of the news, or in other words, make sure that you're always maintaining one current version of whatever document or information across your team. SharePoint also allows for team sites and hierarchy of other sort of workspaces for general collaboration. This includes lists, document libraries, announcements, other types of information that needs to be shared across the team. And SharePoint is a very scalable solution in the sense that you can start with small teams or departments and also utilize it from a much larger scale all the way to global enterprise corporations or organizations. Now the truth is, a lot of SharePoint's capabilities are greatly underutilized. And so this is where EPMLive comes in. We're able to help you in terms of utilizing and expanding on those SharePoint capabilities. So in terms of the SharePoint solution or deployment that you might have within your organization, there are a number of key and core capabilities and features of SharePoint that you can utilize, such as those sites and lists and libraries and content management and whatnot that we were already discussing. And with EPMLive, we then add on additional enhancements and capabilities on top of that. And we'll be going into much more detail with these during our webinar today, such as managing demand and portfolio and resource management across your teams, schedule management, and further collaboration and reporting. So now let's go into more detail about EPMLive and how we're able to manage those products, projects, and services. Here's where EPMLive really adds value to your SharePoint deployment, or whether you're going with your on-premise SharePoint deployment or whether you're going with our cloud solution. What we're able to do is bring our solution into one central core solution so you don't have the need for separate expensive applications. And then what you're able to do is also increase the value from a SharePoint investment that you might have already made within your organization. We're also able to increase efficiency so team members and other workers are able to get all their work done in a single solution. And I'll show you how we bring all work across the organization into a core central location, making it easier to use and increasing user adoption. And then also it enables you to the opportunity to retire multiple solutions if you can handle all of those core capabilities and features within one. we look at a team or an organization, we're able to see that there's work taking place all the time. Some of this is planned work. Some of this is also not planned. We have your traditional project type work, such as your project tasks as a part of a project schedule. But there's also general operational day-to-day work that needs to be done, general to-dos or action items. If you're managing more of it from a product or application perspective, you might be tracking defects or bugs or a backlog of user stories, or perhaps other types of service requests and service tickets or documents that need to be managed. And realistically, our team members, their time and their effort is being utilized across all different types of work. So we really want to make sure we have visibility into all of that work. And what we see often is that organizations are using different systems for managing different types of work. And so with those different systems, we then have isolated processes or reporting, or team members having to use different systems and going to different places to be able to track and get information and also update that information. So for example, you might have a service ticketing system for managing requests and change requests or tickets. And an application system where you're managing products and applications that you're managing within your department. And then perhaps another project management system where you're then managing more of your traditional project tasks and schedules and other types of issues or risks that might be taking place as part of those projects. So with EPMLive, we bring all of that into one system. As I was mentioning, we have all different types of work features, and you can utilize our work features that we have available to you, or you can even add in your own if you have your own specific organization type of work. And should you still have other systems that you're going to be utilizing within your teams and organization, EPMLive integrates with those systems. So you're able to take that data and bring it into the EPMLive platform, or if need be, you can also take the data and bring it back out to that other platform. So there's a lot of very seamless integrations available. And we bundle all this work into different types of apps or work processes. We'll be focusing on the three today in terms of managing your projects, your portfolio of projects, product and application type management, and then also service management. And with that, you can manage all the different types of the demand or requests that are coming in, regardless of what type of work or what type of process it might fit into. And then across all of these different processes, we're then able to utilize these enterprise work capabilities along the top here. And we'll be looking at each of these in more detail, such as managing your portfolio, managing your schedule, and different ways that you can track and manage that schedule. Managing your resources, making sure you have the right resources assigned to the right work at the right time. And managing costs, whether it's detailed budgeting or cost analysis, actuals versus planned. Time tracking and managing the time spent on your different work items. And then for those team members who are assigned to the work, being able to correctly and efficiently manage the work assigned and track their status. Now with EPMLive, we offer you the power of choice. So we have different types of deployment options. As we've already been discussing, we have the on-premise option where you would install and manage EPMLive within your existing SharePoint platform. But then we also offer our SaaS solution, which is in the cloud. And then we also have the hosted option as well. So between your organization, you can always start with one platform and transition to another if need be. So it really allows you a lot of flexibility and a lot of choice in terms of how you deploy EPMLive. Now a little bit more about how EPMLive works in the cloud. Our SaaS solution is available online, so all you need really is internet access to access our solution. And you can still also integrate with other online or cloud-based solutions through EPMLive. And we've already discussed a few of the benefits of how EPMLive can enhance your existing SharePoint platform. But for those of organizations going with the SaaS solution, there's also additional SaaS benefits as well, such as lower initial costs to get up and running. Also, you can pay for what you used in terms of the amount of time and subscription based on the users using the solution. You can have faster and less expensive implementations, and that reduces the risk overall of introducing a new solution. It also reduces the operational management requirements. As we're managing the system and the service and whatnot, you're just accessing it via online. Also, since we're managing the solution for you, there's lower upgrade costs and lower switching costs. And because we have the solution readily available, user adoption is higher because they can access it anytime and from a number of different locations and devices. Now with EPMLive, we have true end-to-end project and work management. And so whether you're looking from a strategic planning perspective, introducing the initial demand and initiatives being requested, and then managing that portfolio and analyzing, making sure you have the right selection of the types of work and the types of projects or applications or other initiatives to go forward. And then as you move through that selection process and then get down into the actual tactical or execution phases of managing those work and projects, we're then able to manage across different schedules and track status and really have our teams collaborate and track their overall information, upload documents and whatnot, and then close things out with analyzing from a business intelligence perspective, a number of reports and another analyst tools available to you. And one of the key things here with EPMLive is you can really focus on the areas that you want to manage. So if you're not going to be going the full end-to-end, but you want to really focus on certain key areas, you can start anywhere within this continuum and move throughout as needed. Now in terms of resource management specifically, as you can see here, we have a number of key areas where you can manage your resources. Starting at the bottom here, we have really just assigning resources to tasks and other types of work. But as we move up in the pyramid here, we get more mature in terms of how we're managing those resources and the work assigned. Such as we move up to see more resource collaboration and communication taking place between the team members. And then moving up into more work management by those resources, tracking their status, making updates, really making sure we're kept current on our overall workload. And then we get to the point of resource allocation, starting to analyze to make sure we have the right resources across the right work, and then moving into true resource capacity planning and management, making sure our resources are accurately allocated and within their capacity. So as we're talking about EPMLive, it's really all work coming together. So we start here on our initial funnel of demand. You can have all different types of demand coming in, whether it's projects and requests, incident management tickets, for example, other types of change requests or backlog items. And then as you take in that demand, we're able then to align it to which kind of processes and what type of work it goes with, whether it's managing a service portfolio or the application portfolio of products or a project portfolio. So we'll be focusing on each of these in a little bit more detail. And as I was saying here, we have the benefit of being able to take all different types of these processes, such as the services, the applications or products, and then the projects, and keeping them all in the same core central solution. So from a visibility and management perspective, you can see what's trending and what's happening across the entire organization and across all these different processes. So as demand comes in, we're able to submit different requests, and we can choose the types of requests to come in, whether it's different types of content or different types of information that needs to be entered in. And you can choose what type of information you want to capture based on the type of request it might be. So first, let's look specifically more at the service portfolio. With EPMLive, we have true service management capabilities here, so that we have information coming in from different requesters, whether they're submitting it via email or phone or an online web form or a forum. And they submit their request, and as the request comes in, we're then able to analyze it, determine when it needs to be completed, whether it be via certain SLAs or certain account management. And then also we can start assigning it to our team, and it's just specific team members who can then work on it, track their status, and then overall resolve it, and then communicate that resolution back to our requesters. Now through that process, we have a number of key different features here available to you for managing those service requests or service tickets. And so we can go into more detail about what each of those might be, and focusing really how we can truly manage the service request overall and the full process of that ticket management. Then as those service requests come in from a management perspective, we can maintain all those requests and really maintain visibility based on urgency or priority. So we can increase our efficiency in terms of assigning and managing and then statusing those different service requests. We can also manage service level agreements, whether specific to certain customers or accounts, to make sure that we're responding to our tickets in time and make sure that we're meeting those SLAs to ensure we're having good customer service. And then we can also track here what types of tickets we have coming in and associate them to whether they're a specific account or specific contracts. And then we can manage those with metrics to see how many tickets are being managed for each account or per which contract for that account to make sure we're staying within our SLA, but then we're also staying within the service tickets for each customer appropriately. Now as we go down and look at more the next type of process here, really focusing on the application portfolio or of our products. We can manage our releases, our backlogs, test cases, or user stories, for example. Now, for example, we might have all different types of applications that we're managing, and we want to be able to see, focus, detail information about each application, but then we also want to be able to see information across all those applications, such as through dashboards or views and whatnot. And again, we have a number of very key features here specific to managing those applications and those products through product development, different product processes, or managing your costs associated to those products, or resources assigned to the work for those products and applications. So we can maintain an inventory of all of the different company applications, assets, or products. We can maintain those product life cycles or product roadmaps as well to see where we plan to be in the near or distant future with regards to each application. And we can then analyze and value them based on what is our budget for these applications, or what are our projects specifically associated to each application. We can see which projects align and how each of those are getting managed. And we have a number of different key tools and reports to be able to truly help us analyze and manage these applications efficiently. Now, based on the type of managing or scheduling that you might do for managing those applications or products, we have our Agile Management, which allows you to follow an iterative or Agile type methodology using our online Agile Planner. And we're able to take our backlog items and track them and using different drag and drop capabilities to manage those different backlog or user story items into our specific iterations or sprints. And then we also have the capability for teams using Visual Studio for TFS, for example. We can actually integrate with TFS from our Agile application. And as we go back through that process there, we're now moved down to more specifically focused on our projects, our portfolio of projects. And some of the key areas here in terms of features and areas of focus on traditional project management EPMLive truly gives you that end-to-end project management through different portfolio management, scheduling, resource tracking, and whatnot. So first we have our portfolio visibility. Very quickly we can see how we're doing on our projects overall. We have different views and dashboards available to see centralized data across all of our different projects and all the different information for those projects. Now, as EPMLive is about giving choice and being flexible in terms of how our customers use our solutions, we have scheduling choice as well available to you. So you can utilize Microsoft Project or Project Server, for example, and our solution integrates with Microsoft Project. You can also use our online project planner, which allows you to build out project plans using our online planning tool without needing other solutions on your desktop, for example. And so we're able to use these different scheduling tools for different teams or different projects based on what the need might be. Now for resource management, we've talked about assigning different types of work to our resources. So with EPMLive, we can track all different types of work, whether it be project tasks, service request tickets, other issues or risks that have come up that weren't necessarily planned, product backlog tasks, all assigned to those different resources. And whether resources are being used across different types of work or across different projects, we're able to then maintain visibility into all that resource demand. And we can do resource capacity planning and analyze what is their workload versus what's their overall availability. Now, as we get into more of our portfolio management capabilities, we're really able to focus on more strategic type planning and analyzing capabilities here. So we have our what-if modeling scenarios and comparison to really make sure we're planning the most efficient way forward with our portfolio of projects and other types of initiatives. We can also plan with prioritization and make sure our projects and the requests that are going forward strategically align with our corporate objectives and our organizational goals. Now, in terms of cost management, we can see here an example where we're able to take all different types of projects, requests, applications, service management and whatnot, and really take visibility across all of those different types of items and processes. And we can see what we've budgeted across different time-phased periods for each of those different requests or projects or whatnot. And then down below, we're actually able to break it down across our cost categories. So we can break it detailed information and seeing where we're applying our budgets and our costs across all the different initiatives, and then down to which type of cost categories those budgets are being applied. And then using our heat maps and other types of reporting capabilities, we're able to actually compare and see where are we doing in terms of what did we originally budget for, what's actually taking place, and how is that looking either currently or going into the future. Now, in terms of resource capacity planning, we can be looking at our resources and seeing how our resources forecasted across the different types of demand across all different portfolio items. And we allow for different types of planning to make sense with however you and your teams do your planning. So whether you're focused more on percentage of time or FTE, full-time equivalents, or maybe you focus more on hours type, the system allows you to do whatever type of planning that might be, and then it calculates it for you. And you can plan the resource capacity across all the portfolio items and see whether it's broken down by cost category or resource category or specific named resources where you're accurately keeping them within your capacity or where you might be over-allocating them. Now, using our portfolio capabilities, we're able to do some what-if modeling. So we can take what's in the system and we can choose to view and sort our different projects and portfolio items different ways. So we can see very clearly what do we have coming up in our pipeline currently and in the future, and over what time periods. And we can see a breakdown whether it's focused on resources or focused on costs. And we can compare what are we doing and apply different targets to see during what scenarios how does that affect our portfolio? We can actually choose to either move items in sequence. Perhaps we push something out several months, or maybe we have to keep it, certain projects, or not choose other portfolio items. And by doing those different scenarios, we can find what's the best version and what's the best scenario to go forward. And we can then go back and apply that to our portfolio accordingly. Now, as we've been talking through different processes and managing different types of work across our services, our applications and products, and then also across our overall projects, we're able to then bring all those processes together to make sure that we're analyzing and viewing and tracking across all of them efficiently, focusing on our strategic planning as well as the execution and reporting of those different processes and work. So EPMLive is built so that you can be up and running in virtually no time at all. So we have a number of our solutions built out with different methodologies. So based on whether you're following more of a PMBOK methodology or maybe more of an Agile Scrum type methodology, or a number of other different ways you can apply our solution, whether it's based on industry or other types of processes. EPMLive is ready to go so you can be up and running. But it's also flexible so you can personalize it to meet your specific needs. As we're talking about managing our resources, as you can see here in this example, we have our different team of resources, and they're focusing on all different types of work, whether it be across projects, products, service requests, and whatnot. And we can see how that work is scheduled out so we can make sure that we're not over-allocating our team, or if we see that we are over-allocating them, we can adjust accordingly. And as we're managing our work across all different types of work, we can then focus on assigning and tracking and making sure those resources themselves are being able to update and status from one central solution. Now, in terms of time tracking, our team members are able to manage their work that's assigned to them, update their status, and overall collaboration and communication on those work items. But then they can also track their time. So we have our timesheet capabilities, which have different processes and settings available to you to manage your timesheets according to your overall work time as well as non-work time. Be able to get that full visibility across your team members' time across the entire work week. Now, in terms of collaboration, we're able to utilize a number of different features and communication capabilities so that our teams are kept up to speed and really communicating efficiently within the tool so that information can be shared and saved and tracked accordingly. So then in terms of reporting, as we've been looking at all these different types of application, product, or service, or project types of work and information, we then want to be able to report and analyze this information within our teams and for management and whatnot. So within EPMLive, we have a number of reporting capabilities. These include different types of charts and graphs for more visual type reports, as well as tables and charts that we can then, whether we're exporting them or printing them or saving them locally, to get real-time data as well as snapshot data over time. Now I'll go ahead and switch over to one of our live sites, and we'll review some of these capabilities that we've been discussing so far. So I've just logged into one of my EPMLive sites here. Some key things as I notice here when I'm first logged in is I'm logged in as this user here, Steve Masters. So everything that I can see and do pertains to me as the user logged in. So very quickly I can see I have certain projects that I'm either managing or I'm part of that project team. So I can see overall what those projects are and how those projects are doing at just a quick glance. I'm also part of teams that I'm assigned to work. So from my home page here, I can also quickly see some work items that are assigned to me and what might be overdue. And this is work across all different projects and different types of work as well. We also can have announcements and other types of key information that you want available to your team so they can quickly see helpful information as needed. And even here from the home page, I can quickly create a new item. So whether I need to upload a new document for my team to see or add a new issue that might have just come in that we need to all of a sudden have visibility and know what's going on with that, or other types of service requests or project requests or whatnot, I can create all those new items directly from here as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and navigate to our project center here, so I can go ahead and go to my projects list. And in this view here, I'm seeing a view of all my different projects, whether they're specifically requested projects or they're projects that are already in progress. And I'm able to see a number of key details about those projects, such as how are we doing on those projects, what's our overall status, and these different key indicators. So from here, I can go ahead and select a project, and maybe I want to get more information about why are we in the yellow in terms of budget status, or why are we in the red on issue status. I can quickly go to my associated items, and I can see all my associated types of items to that project, such as my project issues. Or I can go ahead and open up my cost planner for that project, for example. In this example, I'm going to go ahead and open up my task center, and I want to see all associated tasks for this project. So whether this project is being managed using our online project planner or, for example, maybe Microsoft Project, whichever way that the project manager is choosing to manage the schedule itself, as a team member or as an overall manager, I can come in and quickly see how are we doing on this project and how are the overall task schedule happening and what's going on with the status of these individual tasks here. Now, let's say, for example, we also have a certain project that's specific to a product that we're managing. So we want to look at that product overall and also focus on more of an agile type planning methodology. I can actually select one of my products here, for example, the PC tablet software, and I'll go ahead and say Edit Plan. And from here, I can actually launch my online Agile Planner. So in my Agile Planner, this is a great tool for your Scrum teams to be using this Agile methodology to be taking the overall backlog of tasks or user stories or defects or whatnot and being able to push those different items into the different iterations for planning. So for example, we might have a specific task here that we want to start planning with this task. So we can go ahead and move this up into iteration 2. And I can actually start now assigning these items to my team members. So let's say I'm going to go ahead and assign this one to Adam. And so now Adam will see when he goes to his work that he's assigned to this task, this defect task, and he needs to be working on it. Now we can move items in and out of these different iterations as needed to make sure that we're staying within our available points or perhaps our available work hours, depending on which way that you do your planning. We can also be adding in new items here. So perhaps we're doing one of our Scrum meetings and we need to quickly add in a new iteration as we're going forward with our planning. Or maybe a new task. We can even build out subtasks for specific items here. So maybe it needs to get more detailed in terms of how we're going to accomplish those assigned tasks there. So now as we're done working on our Agile plan, for example, it brings us right back to our overall Project Center view. So we can see back to our executive summary how we're doing on our projects overall. So now as we're looking at projects and we've looked at one of our products and managing the backlog for that product, We can also transition a little bit here and, for example, look at more from a service request perspective. So if I go here to my services list, I can look at my service requests that we have within our organization. Now my default view here is my open requests, but maybe as a manager I want to see what are all of our open requests. I can quickly change my view, and it'll show me a different set of the requests that are now all open requests assigned to anyone else on my team. So here's one of our service requests. And these can get submitted a number of different ways, as I was saying. But let's say, for example, I'm looking at this request, and I want to see how we're doing on it. I can go ahead and view that item. And this item opens up, and I see that the item was requested by Adam, and it's assigned to Bob here. And just some general information about the item. When is it due? I can see this item is significantly overdue, for example. Maybe I quickly want to leave a comment for Bob Kelly, who is assigned to this item. So I can go ahead and open up my comments. And I can put in my comment here for this resource. Now, as soon as I post this, the resource assigned will actually go ahead and see what the comment has been left. And they'll go ahead and get that via an email as well as on their online site. So as they get that email, they can then quickly see what the comment is, and they can also leave another comment back and forth. This way, all the communication and collaboration is being saved here within this particular item for tracking and historical purposes. Now, what we can also do with these service requests is, let's say that this request here, moving the office to a new building. Perhaps this requires more than just a single action item. Maybe it requires subtasks, and we're going to be assigning this to multiple team members to accomplish different pieces of the overall service request. I can go ahead and launch my plan, and I'd be able to create a whole schedule, if you will, for this particular service request. Or maybe something comes in as a service request, and it now is getting elevated, and maybe it's being moved to a higher priority, and actually now is going to become an actual project. We can use our workflows to elevate or escalate that service request item into now a full project, where we can now start assigning a team, building out a full project schedule, associating other items, etc. Now, as we go and we want to look at our more information about our portfolio or our products, for example. Let's say, for example, we come into our site and we want to see what applications we're looking at. So I can go here to my IT dropdown, and I can see our specific applications. Now, these are different applications that we're currently managing within the organization. We can be managing their scheduling and releases for each of these applications using our Agile Planner or another scheduling methodology as necessary. But here I can see overall for this application, let's say the Human Resources Enterprise, for example, we can see very quickly how we're doing on this application overall. And maybe I want to see which project or projects are we managing that's specific to that application. I can quickly open up and see what types of projects are being managed. And we currently have 2 projects that are currently being managed for that particular application. And just as I was showing before, from each one of these projects, we can then view overall information about that project, such as why are we in the yellow or red for issues, or what's the overall schedule for that project in particular. Now, along the same token, we can also look at our portfolios of projects. Now, we might have portfolios across different departments, or even within the department, we might have a portfolio based on business initiatives or corporate goals. So, for example, we have one of our goals here is our cost reduction. So we can go ahead and see, well, what kind of projects are we currently managing that are specific to our cost reduction? So I can go and say associated items, and I can see which projects are being managed. And we can have an overall budget or capacity plan for an initiative overall. And then we can see how are those budgets being utilized across each individual project associated to that portfolio item. Now, if we focus and shift hats a little bit here and focus now from more of a team member perspective, let's say we've been assigning work and we've been tracking information about our projects, our products, and our services. What we want to be able to do now is focus on what is the work that's assigned to me as a team member, and how can I make updates and collaborate with my team more successfully. What I can do here is launch the My Work page, and this will pull in all types of work that are assigned to me across all projects, products, services, etc. And now from any one of these items here, I can see if there's comments that have been left. I can make updates to those comments. I can quickly click the Edit button here, and I can modify multiple items at once, whether I want to update % complete, or status, or maybe add other type of information. I can also select a specific item and go into either view or modify that one item and really focus on a lot of details for it. And so as a team member, I can do all of this from this one central place here. And those updates are then made available to the rest of my teams and my management throughout the rest of the solution. I'd also be able to track my time from similar to here. I go into my timesheet, and I can not only update my status and % complete, I could also then update my time as well on these particular items. Now, as we're looking at what our team members are working on and what we're assigning to them, let's focus from a resource management perspective, and let's make sure that we're assigning our resources and we're staying within their capacity or availability. I can quickly go here and select a couple resources. I can choose to look at my whole team or department, for example, or maybe I have a couple of key people that I want to focus on. So I select the resources I want to view. And as we've been talking, there's all different types of scope of work. So I want to see all the work items assigned to these two team members, whether they're service requests or service tasks, general project tasks, backlog items, etc. And I'll go ahead and focus on this month here, June. But I can go back and see how did we over or accurately allocate. Or I can also look into the future. And I'll go ahead and view this in the terms of weeks for this month. Now, this is one of our reporting services reports. It allows me to see a lot of very good information here from a high level, as well as then being able to drill down into the details. So overall, I can see that we over-allocated the two resources combined for each of these weeks here. But if I scroll down, I can see details in terms of the fact that for Adam, for example, he's very much over-allocated, but Joe here is right at capacity, so it's perfectly allocated within Joe's availability. So now I can see very specifically and focus down into more detail, well, which projects or which types of work is this resource assigned, and then I can even get down to the specific item level and see which items that person is assigned to as well. Now from this report, I can do a number of different things. I can print it or export it to a number of different formats, whether Excel, PDF, Word, etc. Now speaking of reports, we have a number of different reporting capabilities. So I can quickly navigate over to my reports page. And I can see all types of reporting information across the entire solution. So for example, if I want to focus on just my product backlog items, I can expand that, and I can see what are our active tasks or what type of backlog items specific to defects or specific to just task items or user stories. I can also go down and focus on my project information overall. And here we have a number of different reporting capabilities, whether you're looking at cost analysis type views or overall summary information. We also have a number of dashboards available. So I'll go ahead and open up one of these dashboards, for example. And we can see very quickly what type of, in both graphical as well as table type details, how we're doing on this project from a financial perspective. I can see here from any one of these projects, I can also open this up and get more details by viewing that item or viewing the plan or seeing what comments have been left on this item, perhaps from one of my team members. So I'm able to get a lot of information, and you get that information from different places throughout the system. So now we've reviewed a number of different key pieces of information about our solution. What I'd like to let everybody know is that we'd be happy to give more information and give you a more one-on-one demonstration and go into very specific details based on what your needs and requirements might be. So please go to our website, EPMLive.com. You can request more information or contact us via phone or via email. You can also sign up for a free trial of our solution. So depending on which solution might be the best fit for you from EPMLive, sign up for a free trial, get your hands on the tool, and really get to try it out for yourself. Well, thank you all very much for your time today. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to talking to you soon.